Okay, maybe hottest Fire Emblem take. I don't know. It would have been better in Fire Emblem 4 if instead of taking away Deirdre's agency and having her just get kidnapped and then her memories wiped, if she actually chose to betray Sigurd and join up with Arvis and then became like a dual antagonist in like part two. Like, the way it currently is, like, yes, it's sad. It's like a huge like sucker punch. But low key, I feel like Sigurd does have flaws in his like extreme idealism. Like I think a lot of the contrast of FE4 is between like Sigurd being like very wildly idealistic and kind of just being like, oh yeah, to the point of like extreme naivete with the sort of honor values of the feudal political system he's under versus all the majority of lords in the game, I'd say overall. And when I say lords, and not just like player characters, but just like nobles in general, are actually like bad politicking type people who are not idealistic and who are like primarily strategic. And then Arvis is like kind of like closer to like the middle in the sense that like he's very strategic and he's willing to do terrible things, but he actually is doing all that in favor of like an idealistic goal and world. Versus Sigurd, like is jumps to intervene when stuff is directly in front of him, but he isn't necessarily like going out of his way to actually like reform the overall system that's allowing people to to be so corrupt in positions of power in the first place. I feel like Sigurd ultimately and Deirdre too, like they like hear the dark rumors of what will happen, but they jump into it because they believe in like the ideal of their love. But I think there's like flaws in their mindset too and in their actions, even though they're like good people. I think maybe not in the way that Arvis did it, but I feel like Sigurd should have employed more strategic thinking and caution, etc., in a lot of different situations in FE4. And I think if Deirdre thought through her like her own experiences and kind of like moved away from Sigurd and questioned his values and betrayed him, it would make Sigurd more of like a tragic protagonist, if that makes sense. Like it would give him that like Greek tragic hero feel of being like a good person, but who had like a legitimate flaw and being like too naive and ultimately paid the ultimate price of his own wife lost trust in him or whatever. And then it would like set up Gen 2 so much better because Deirdre and Arvis would have like more agency and a more interesting arc in Gen 2. And so would Sela. And so would Julia. Julia learned from Deirdre and then went back to Sela's side and they found like a better middle ground than what Arvis did. That would be sick too. But let me know if I'm crazy for this. What do you think?